Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. And let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now today's first story comes from Depressed Tim Tam from the Am I the Arsehole subreddit. And it says, am I the arsehole here for giving my friend a much needed reality check? My mate and I are both in our mid-30s. We've known each other for over 20 years and realistically, we've been each other's main support system for most of that time. He's the only person I speak to regularly and I'm the same for him. Let's call him Dave. I recently moved to another city for work, so we don't get to hang out in person anymore. We still call every few days, and despite everything, I genuinely love the guy like a brother. I don't see us ever not being in each other's lives. I could go on about his best qualities, but respectfully, Dave has all my worst traits but turned up to 100. I struggle with depression and social anxiety too, but I've been putting in the effort to turn things around. I've been exercising, getting outside, forcing myself into small social situations and trying to look after myself even on the rough days. Dave, on the other hand, has been going the opposite direction. He barely leaves the house anymore. His hygiene has dropped off dramatically. He doesn't try to take care of himself physically or emotionally. And whenever I gently encourage him, he brushes it off or gives me the "what's the point" line. I'm not a therapist and I've told him that. I can support him, but I can't fix him. The recurring issue is this: Dave has never been romantic with anyone, which isn't a problem on its own. I've had my own struggles in that area, and being single is not a character flaw. The problem is that every few weeks he spirals into a rant about how unfair life is and how no girl will ever want someone like him, and how the universe has personally decided he doesn't get love. Last week during a call, I snapped. Not yelling, just brutal honesty. I told him, you never leave the house, you don't shower, you don't groom yourself, and you spend all day doom scrolling and feeling sorry for yourself. You can't expect someone to magically appear when you're doing nothing to make yourself feel better or put yourself out there. Even if it's not guaranteed, you're making your odds worse. Honestly, you're starting to think like an incel. He absolutely lost it. He called me unsupportive, rude, and even called me a traitor. And then he said some genuinely nasty things about my ex-fiancée leaving me. It was stuff that came out of nowhere and cut pretty deep. I hung up. He's tried calling me a few times since, but I haven't picked up because I'm still heated and honestly a bit hurt. I'm sure we will eventually talk things out, but I'm very nervous about our next conversation too. So, am I the arsehole here for finally giving him the reality check he's refused to hear for years? I think it's one of those situations where Dave simply needed to hear it. The hygiene, the isolation, and it just sounds like it's spiraling and it's genuinely concerning, especially when he said, you know, what's the point? And as his best friend of 20 years, you're one of the people that can actually call him out on it. The incel comment might have been on the stronger side of things, but again, sometimes people do need to hear that kind of thing. It sounds like Dave is already in a very dark place. So, you know, when he's receiving sort of valid criticism, he might just see it as an attack, which, you know, isn't your fault. But again, this is your friend and it sounds like you got a lot of love for this guy. So I wonder if you can talk to him about you're coming from a place of concern and you are worried about him, especially the things he's saying, like, again, saying stuff like, what's the point? And I'm not trying to diagnose, I'm not trying to go down any of that path, but, you know, it sounds very much down like the depressive route, right? But in the end, you can only suggest this stuff and then he has to take the action to try and get that professional help. And if he doesn't make any effort to change, eventually you'll burn out trying to carry him. But sometimes the tough love is just absolutely warranted. Tech Bear says not the arsehole. Part of having long-standing close friends is that they get to actually be honest with us. Sometimes even things that make you feel bad are also true. And it's those deep friendships that allow us to say it out loud. Safety Fluid says this and emphasizes that it's a benefit of having long-standing friendships. Yak Certain says, the "what's the point" line is concerning. as are the hygiene issues. He may need to be evaluated for depression. It can cause the things you were describing. Pay student loan says 100% not the arsehole, blah blah, don't light yourself on fire to warm someone else. People can listen to self-inflicted drama for only so much. Now, with that out of the way, you tried many times to be gentle. You then tried to be honest and just got shut down. Maybe pick up the next time and see how he feels. People make mistakes, but people can also double down. Maybe he realized his fault and wants to apologize. Maybe he wants to double down. Only way to find out is to pick up the phone next time. If you don't want to call him yourself, then go from there. If you don't talk, well, then things are already done anyway. So it was 5 days after this that OP came in with an update and said, since my original post, Dave and I finally had a proper conversation. I gave him a call the day after the post. He told me that what I said genuinely hurt him, but he also admitted that, deep down, he knew I was right. He ended up breaking down and opening up in a way he never has before. He said this isn't the life he pictured for himself, that he feels like he's let his family down, and that he worries it's too late to turn things around. For context I didn't include earlier, Dave comes from a very strict Asian household. He was expected to become a high-earning professional, and while his 2 younger siblings have gone on to build successful careers and start families, Dave burned out in uni. He told me that watching his siblings thrive while he struggled has crushed his self-esteem over the years. He also revealed that his dad refuses to speak to him now. This is something I had no idea about until this conversation. He said he did understand that I was coming from a place of love, but I apologized for the way my bluntness came across. He also apologized for the comment he made about my ex-fiancée, which really did cross a line, and we cleared the air there. I tried reassuring him that he's always been an incredible friend and a genuinely good person. I reminded him that his siblings used to look up to him and still come to him for advice sometimes, which says a lot about who he is beyond his struggles. I told him I'd support him however I reasonably can, but that real change has to come from him. And to his credit, he started taking some small steps. He promised to get back into basic self-care, look into therapy, and try easing himself into a routine again. He even went out, got his long greasy haircut, shaved, and honestly looked like a different person already. That alone seemed to lift his spirits a bit. Going forward, I'm planning to approach things with more empathy and patience. Life has genuinely hit Dave hard, and I want to help him climb out of this rough spot at a pace that's realistic for him. I know what it's like to feel trapped in a dark place, and I'm hoping that with enough time and support, he'll eventually find his way out. We're meeting up back in our hometown next week, and we're going to be watching some of our favorite movies at his place. The top commenter said to OP on this one, "Awesome update. You sound like a really good friend, and that's great. I hope Dave finds himself again." OP says thank you. I hope so too. Very excited to hang out with him after a long while. Puzzleheaded says thank you for sharing. I think a lot of men really struggle to know what emotionally available male friendships look and sound like, and this is an excellent example of how to navigate the issue of male loneliness. Oh, bloody hell, I absolutely feel for Dave after the situation. Good on OP, by the way, for being an absolutely amazing friend. But the context about the, a strict Asian household and the expectations and burning out himself while his dad disowning him, come on, that's rough. And whilst the conversation in the first post did hurt Dave, it sounds like it was a reality check that did land because he seems to already be taking action. And I think it worked because Dave probably knew it was coming from a place of love because they've had this 20+ year friendship. And I think that last commenter had it spot on about what emotionally available friendships look like. Calling each other out when needed, apologizing when you mess up, and just happy to be vulnerable with one another and then showing up when needed. I was out with a friend at the weekend. We had a couple of beers and stuff, and I was talking about some stuff I was going through in my life. And, whilst we talked about it that night, the next day, he just sent me a follow-up message saying, I hope everything's okay. Here's a little coffee voucher, and so you can have a little chill out by yourself and have a coffee when you can. And then offered to meet up the following week to go and get some food, which I'm sure I'm going to take up at the same time. Absolutely love the guy. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from a throwaway account from the relationship advice subreddit. It says, I, 27 female, accidentally had my baby in my friend's 31 female car. Now her husband and she don't want to speak to me. How do I fix this? I'm very aware this sounds ridiculous, but I'm so tired of worrying about this. I need some outside perspective. This all happened almost 2 weeks ago now. I was almost 38 weeks pregnant then. My partner left for an afternoon to help out her brother, which we were both fine with. She was only a 1.5 hour drive away, and neither of us saw this coming, and my friend Alice offered to come spend the day with me so I wasn't alone. Honestly, it was really nice to have her there. We just watched some movies and hung out, even though I was just so uncomfortable through the day. I didn't consider I might actually be going into labor. I'd been feeling discomfort for ages. At some point, we did realize that this was the real deal, and I called my wife. We considered waiting until she got back, but things started to get real very fast, and I asked Alice to drive me to the hospital. She was fine with this, I think. We didn't fully make it to the hospital, and I ended up having my daughter in her husband's car. We're both fine, luckily. Had a few complications, which are now okay again. Our baby is beyond perfect, and though my wife is having a hard time with having missed her birth, we have a wonderful tiny human to focus on. Things have been really messed up with Alice and her husband though, and I don't know how to solve it. 2 days after all that happened, I sent her a message thanking her again for everything she had done and told her, light-hearted but sincere, to please send me a bill for having the car cleaned. She didn't reply for a while and in the end just liked the message. I've messaged her a few times since and she hasn't replied, and her husband sent me a message saying not to message her and congrats on the baby but thanks for fucking up his car. I feel so lost, and please don't get me wrong, of course my priority is with my little family right now, but this does keep crossing my mind. This is so unlike her. Her husband and I never were the closest. I don't love how he speaks to her sometimes, but still, we're friendly. I don't know how to solve this. Did I just traumatize her so much and need to leave her alone? Do I keep trying? I'm so grateful for all she's done that day. Edit, and thank you for all the replies. This is quite overwhelming, so I hope it's okay I do this here. I'm going to try and reach out to her again, but not through text, or maybe I can ask one of our mutual friends to meet up with her. I don't know yet. We're going to try and check in on her some way. Also, we plan to pay them back since this happened, no worries. Very aware that I messed up their car in a big way. Thanks for all the replies, truly. I got a lot of great advice and insights, and I'm going to figure out my next steps. Edit 2. I've reached out to her and apologized once again for everything I've put them through, both car and trauma-wise, and said once more that I'd really like to pay to fix all of this, regardless of the cost. Or if they want, I can try and reach out to some professionals and try and sort everything ourselves. Anything to make it right, as well as asking if they want me to rent them something. Though I think my sincerity in my first message to pay for everything was clear. I don't want to take any chances. I will add that any other message I'd sent her was very serious/worried. Never joked about paying. Thank you for all your comments. I feel awful about what I did to their car. I'll make it right, as we're planning to, but try to be more proactive about it. This has all been quite overwhelming, but very needed. Thank you for taking the time to reply. I'm going to sleep now. It's been an emotional day. In edit 3, she's deleted and blocked me now. I'm at a loss. I'll continue trying to make this right and reach out some places to get some estimates/contact insurance/so on. We're taking this very seriously, I promise. So I appreciate all you guys so much for helping me see how badly we dealt with this. I really need to get away from this post for a bit. Thank you all loads and good night. Now, there's a lot of comments talking about bodily fluids all over your car and messing up your car to a high degree, right? There were several bad vibes I was getting from the husband in this situation as we were going through the story. You know, Opie already said she doesn't like the way that husband talks to Alice. He sent a message to Opie saying not to message her anymore and thanks for fucking up his car. I mean, what? I've had a partner whose friend was in a medical emergency, about to give birth, a literal life or death situation in some cases. I'd want my partner to get them there safely, which I know is easy for me to say because I'm not in that situation, but I guarantee that's how I would feel about that. But Waffle S says, I also had a precipitous labor at 38 weeks and gave birth at home, thankfully in the bathroom, but still a lot to clean. It's a lot of liquid. It soaks into everything and a biohazard as well. For a car, I think you should offer to pay for a forensic cleaning service and expect it to cost a few $1,000s. They may need to do ozone treatment to get rid of the smell or to replace the carpet and the seat. Kumquat says, this is the most logical course of action. She or a partner really should research the cost of it for his car and model to do forensic cleaning and replace the seat. Then send a check for that amount, note it in the comments what it is for, and provide a printout of the place that offers the service and the place that sells and installs the seat, and let it go from that point. Someone should go check on Alice. Embarrassed says this, all of it, and especially the someone should check on Alice. When I read this and I didn't like how he speaks to a line stuck out. I have a feeling Alice is getting the brunt of her husband's anger here, and in turn, she's letting it out on OP by ghosting, or husband is telling her we're never speaking to them again. ETA first, thanks for the award, and since this is getting some attention, I did also want to add an additional possibility here of Alice ignoring OP simply in an attempt to keep her out of her husband's meltdown. Either way, this post reads to me that there is definitely some hostility in this dynamic. Hey, as Dorothy Parker says, send her a check. Someone messed up my seat in my new car with body fluids. I was devastated because I couldn't clean the Alcantara. Pronunciation. Good details can cost almost $1,000 or more, to be honest. Get a quote from a reputable place, not mobile, and send the money. When so much liquid is spilled, it can cause mold down the road. Hee pun. Because you can't get it all out of the seats and properly dry them. It's going to cost more because it's a biohazard with blood and goo. To be gentle to you, it's not your fault, but I wanted to tell you it's a big deal to them and actually might be considered totaled. If you go to r/detailing, you'll get more of a picture of what needs to happen. You can post there and ask. Opie says, I never realized the car might be considered totaled. I feel awful. Rip Root says, no, it would be awful if they sent you an invoice and you didn't pay. You offered. The boyfriend is awful because he's actively stopping you from doing that so he can use this accident to abuse your friend further. Cats and Star Trek says, this is the comment. Yes, you should pay for the car. It sounds like the boyfriend is using this as another way to isolate your friend from a support system. So it was 16 days later that Opie came in with their update and said, hi everyone, gonna try and keep this short and sweet. Also very tired, so apologies for errors. But saw people were still responding to my original post. Thank you all for taking the time to do so. It's been overwhelming, but so needed. I've tried to take your advice to heart. I saw Alice a few days ago. She came to our house unexpectedly. I actually had just gone out. My wife had to call me. This was after she had blocked me. I know a lot of you were upset with her, and a lot of you were with her guy, but we're getting to it. But I was just so damn happy to see her, I immediately started bawling. She did too. She apologized, so did I. We had a long conversation which I kinda tried to summarize. Everything that happened had been a lot for her, which is so fair, and she was having a hard time processing it. But she initially didn't feel upset with me. Her husband had been furious though. He already isn't our biggest fan, so this really set him off, at her as well. Don't get me wrong, I don't blame him for being upset about his car. But I do wish it had a different/better communication. He'd been fuming we hadn't reached out sooner after baby was born, and my first message wasn't more apologetic. In her words, over the weeks following everything, she started to feel angry at me/us because he convinced her to, and my messaging and reaching out was just too much in that moment. After our silence, she realized she wasn't upset with me, but the situation, and she should be relieved everyone was okay. And even asked her husband to stop bringing it up as she was sick of it. We agreed we really just want to be okay again, though she admitted she'd have to build up to it slowly because again, her husband. I also apologized again for everything and how I wish I had done things differently. She even made a small joke that she's proud to be such a big part of her birth story. which honestly gave me more relief than anything else she said. I hope she will be okay. Don't love the guy, but I can't do more than be a friend, I think. Luckily, the car isn't totaled. I was terrified of this and feel stupid for not realizing it was an option. Thank you all for pointing it out. Only the front seat where I was sitting was messed up, and too much information, my sweatpants took the worst of the mess, I guess. Car is already clean/fixed before Alice even came. He had it back and we've paid back everything. He doesn't like driving it anymore. That's all I think. Wife, baby and I are okay. She's a month old already, which is wild. I realized I do have some trauma left from the whole birth, which mostly started to hit me when I wasn't obsessing over Alice anymore. So gonna work on that. Thank you all for the love, the support, but also for helping me realize I should have done things differently. Reddit can be overwhelming, but you've helped me a lot. Edit. Thank you for all the responses. I care way too much what you all think though. Reddit may not be the best place for me. So gonna log off now. Thank you all loads from the bottom of my heart. This was also my last update. A commenter says, quoting, even asked her husband to stop bringing it up as she was sick of it, and he doesn't like driving it anymore. And then says, oh my days, imagine being married to this bloke. Like, grow up. Sounds unbearable to be around. United Coach says, oh my days, imagine being married to this bloke. No thank you. And yeah, this dude is ridiculous. I couldn't even tolerate imagining being married to him. Another commenter says, he's unbearable. You can't keep the fetus in active labor. Anyone that has some anatomical knowledge inside their head knows that. Contraction makes you go push, push, baby comes out, etc. What the fuck was OP supposed to do? Hold it in? I'm mesmerized by the amount of comments saying, oh my god, that's going to be thousands of dollars in detailing. Huh? No, oh my god, thank god everyone's safe and nothing bad happened to mum and baby. I'm willing to bet this husband has a problem with OP being in a relationship with the same sex. He screams, ooh, why would I take care of a baby after 2 pumps? That's not my job, that's yours. Another commenter says, your friend is trapped in an abusive relationship. Everything you've written here indicates she's actively being abused. OP says, I worry if I push it now, I'll lose contact with her again. I think right now I just need to be her friend and hope I'm right about that. Kit Kat says, this is the way. The situation has probably made her realize a bit anyway, seeing as he isolated her from you and kept whining. Over time, she may open up to you about it. Don't slag him off or talk in an aggressive way about him, but bring up situations you've noticed but not been sure how to broach with her to see what she says. ACO says, I'm not gonna lie. Not wanting to drive the car because someone gave birth in it is genuinely pathetic. It's being cleaned. Grow up and move on. Utterly Bored says, I'd be bragging incessantly if it were my car. Yep, that fresh placenta smell. But now, I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Maybe you got a completely different opinion on the matter. Let us know your comments and let's move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from the Today I Messed Up subreddit. It comes from Articulate Rhinoceros, who says, today I fucked up by finding my late husband's wedding ring. This happened last weekend, but I have to go back 13 months for the whole story. My husband passed several years ago. I'd wear his wedding ring on a cord around my neck. I pretty much never took it off. December 2024, I went to the mall and took it off while trying on dresses. Later that day at home, I noticed the necklace was missing. I searched my house, car, closet, etc. and couldn't find it. I came to the conclusion that I either left it in the changing stall at the mall or it fell off during the day sometime between leaving the mall and going to the gym before going home. I went to the gym, I went to the mall, I asked around, searched lost and found, asked employees and found nothing. To say I was upset would have been an understatement. I was extremely sad and feeling horrifically guilty that I was so careless with something so precious. I made a post on my local Facebook group and another on a local subreddit. A local TV reporter reached out to me and we filmed a small segment for the news in hopes that the ring would be found. The reporter even went back to the mall and checked several pawn shops in the area for me. Time passed and I accepted that the ring was gone forever. This was extra upsetting to me, as I had lost a fair amount of weight and so my wedding ring no longer fit me, and I had to stop wearing it for fear of losing it as well. Last weekend would have been our 11th wedding anniversary. I thought about my ring and realized after 13 months there was no way it was getting returned. If it was found when I lost it, the person had clearly decided to keep it, and if it was found now, no one would know who it belonged to or how to return it. I was not doing well. The next day I actually backed into a parked car in the morning, like a moron, and was already having a pretty crap-ass day. My birthday was the next day. It's 2 days after our anniversary, and ever since I surpassed the age my husband passed at, I really hate it and don't celebrate. So between our anniversary, the car accident, and my impending birthday, I was not in a good place last Saturday. Anyway, I finished up with the car insurance and headed home. When I got home, my cat was pestering me to play with him. I had a walk-in closet, but I don't use the whole thing because it's just me now. So I made half of it a play space for my cat. I go into the closet and I'm playing with my kitty, and when he chases something into my clothes, a dress kind of pops out, and out of it falls my husband's wedding ring. I lost my mind. I started shaking and screaming, "Oh my God, oh my God!" And my brother, who lives with me, heard me and thought something bad had happened. He found me shaking and screaming and wasn't sure if I needed a hug or help or what, lol. When I finally calmed down, I explained that I found the ring. Then I called my kids and told them, and instantly my day got better. Best anniversary and birthday gift I could have gotten, honestly. I'm still confused by how I missed it and how it was found so easily now. When it first went missing, I tore my closet apart, took everything off the racks, shook all the dresses like a mad woman. In fact, I did this multiple times, like every weekend for a while. I don't understand how I never found the ring in that dress. I haven't worn the dress. I lost a lot of weight and have bought several dresses in a spree that I had no occasion to wear them to. But I've definitely taken it off the rack and at least shaken it and looked inside it before. I'm so confused, but grateful. But here's the thing. I had the whole city looking for this ring at one point, and it was in my house the whole time. I went on the dang news. I'm so embarrassed. I can't tell anyone outside of my family that I found it because it was never lost. I'm just a moron. So I'm sharing my fuck up here. The ring was never gone. I circled the wagons for no reason. I'm sorry. Edit. Not to be cliche, but this really blew up, and I wasn't expecting that. Thank you everyone for being so supportive and caring. I'm doing okay. I have bad days still. I'm generally pretty active and have a full life. While I don't like to have a party on my birthday, I did celebrate this year by running my first ever 10K race, and it went really well. Also, obligatory cat tags. Now, whilst I wouldn't call this, the fuck up in the typical sense that we usually see in this subreddit, the story is both heartbreaking and really sweet at the same time. And I think OP needs to just cut themselves some serious slack there, because I think the embarrassment or the guilt or whatever they're feeling at the minute is just unnecessary. Yes, you went on the news and you was asking people to look for it, and I'm sure some people were looking around for it, but if I heard your story and I was looking for it, I'd just be incredibly happy for you, and I am incredibly happy for you at the same time. And I don't think she should be embarrassed or anything about telling anyone her story, because I would really hope that anyone hearing this would just be absolutely thrilled for her. And OP did supply the cat tax at the same time, and what an absolute good lad that kitty is as well. Deserves extra treats, I think. The universe and the cat gave you a ring back on your anniversary weekend. That is what the story is, and that's absolutely amazing for you. And I really do hope you don't beat yourself up over it as well, because you deserve all the happiness in the world at the same time. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being here. Absolutely amazing. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.